Did you buy a Steam Deck when it was on sale for 10% off in the recent Steam sale? If not, then you should have heeded my advice. But for those of you who bought a Steam Deck, or perhaps you already have a Steam Deck, this video is for you, the brave gamer who decided to give the Steam Deck a chance. I'm sure you don't need some egg-headed YouTuber to tell you what to do. But in case you do, here are 10 things you should do with your Steam Deck when you get it, in no particular order. The first thing you should do is just pick a Steam game in your library and play it. If you're not sure what you should play, picking a Steam Deck verified game is generally a good idea. Picking a game that's also marked as playable is also generally a good idea as well. Heck, even some games that are marked as unsupported work out of the box as well. My biggest pet peeve when it comes to people in the Steam Deck community, or even YouTubers, is telling people to do X, Y, or Z before even touching a single game in their Steam library. Cause think about it, what good is setting up EmuDeck, or setting up Proton GE, or installing Windows, or setting up a dual boot, or doing any of this stuff matter if they don't enjoy the feel of playing games on their Steam Deck? That's just my 2 cents. I think if you're a brand new user, you should just spend like a week or 2 playing games on your Steam Deck. Try out a bunch of different games on your Steam Deck. Or heck, use this opportunity to play one game all the way through, just to get a feel for the controls, the ergonomics, the performance of the Steam Deck to see if you like it all. I did say this list was in no particular order, but I firmly believe at the very least before you try out the 9 other things to do on your Steam Deck, you should definitely just sit down and play some video games on your Steam Deck. Play games from your Steam library. If you don't have any games in your Steam library, then I don't know, buy them. You did buy some games during the Steam Spring Sale, right? If not though, there is one game that you should absolutely play. Well, it's more of a tech demo really, but you should play it. It's called Aperture Desk Job. It was made specifically for the Steam Deck, and though you can definitely run this on Windows, don't. The experience was made for the Steam Deck, and it uses the Steam Deck to its full capabilities. Honestly, this should be the first game you play before any other game in your Steam library. Had fun playing all your video games? Welcome back. Now for the third thing you should do, setting up Proton GE. For those not in the know, the Steam Deck doesn't run Windows, and as such, in order to run Windows games, Valve has created a software layer called Proton, which is essentially a compatibility layer designed to run Windows games on your Steam Deck. And it works pretty well, I would say 90% of the time. But there are some edge cases where it doesn't work. In those cases, it's always a good idea to have Proton GE up and ready on your Steam Deck, just in case. Installing Proton GE is extremely simple. Go into desktop mode, and then once you're in desktop mode, go into the Discover App Store, search up Proton Up Qt, and then download it. Once Proton Up Qt is installed, launch Proton Up Qt, and from there, you can download whatever version of Proton GE you'd like. Ideally though, you should download the latest version. Afterwards, you should go into a game's properties, go to compatibility, force the use of a specific Steam Play compatibility tool, and select Proton GE. Do keep in mind that Proton GE doesn't fix every issue with games. For example, Gears of War 5, you still can't play online, but now you can play single player. There are also some other edge cases where regular Proton works better than Proton GE in certain games. This next thing you should do is very optional, but you should definitely pick yourself up a dock of some sort. This step is optional because I feel like a lot of people are just going to want to play their Steam Decks portably, which does make sense. But sometimes I just like the convenience of plugging my Steam Deck into my TV or monitor and just playing games that way. Not to mention I do record a lot of gameplay footage, so in my case, I absolutely need a dock. You may be asking yourself, which docks should I get? Well, there's a ton of docks out there. When it comes to docks though, your safest bet is definitely Valve's official dock. It even comes with an extra Steam Deck charger as well. There's also the matter of older titles. Older titles that never got a PC release. That's right, we're talking about Emulation. Everyone loves Emulation, and if anyone says they don't love Emulation, then they're a flat out liar. Even Nintendo loves Emulation. They just don't love it when you use Emulation to play their games on the Steam Deck, which you'll be doing when you have EmuDeck installed. EmuDeck is so easy you don't even need a tutorial. Just download it and then run the executable and then follow the instructions in the installer. EmuDeck is the easiest way to set up emulators on your Steam Deck. Of course, you'll still need to provide your own ROMs and BIOSes and whatnot, and of course, high-tech lowlife does not condone piracy, so it's in your best interest to learn how to dump your own damn games. But let's say you claimed a bunch of titles on the Epic Games Store. You can set up the Heroic Games Launcher. The Heroic Games Launcher is both an Epic Games Store launcher and a GOG launcher. The Heroic Games Launcher is an absolute necessity if you're trying to play your Epic or GOG titles. It's quite easy to set up as well. I have a couple of videos showcasing how to use the Hero Games Launcher and how to get things all set up, though it seems those tutorials may be outdated. So who knows, maybe I'll make a new tutorial later. This next application is totally optional to download, but absolutely recommended in case you want to tinker around. For those not in the know, every game that runs in Proton has its own quote-unquote prefixes. Each different Proton prefix has its own settings as well as its own Windows folder structure. This improves compatibility greatly. It also allows games to get specific fixes needed for those prefixes. But in some cases, you just need to make changes to the prefixes themselves, whether it's adding a new DLL or changing what version of Windows it supposedly runs, etc, etc. Proton Tricks can do all of that and more. I don't really have a video out for Proton Tricks, but there's a plethora of guides out there and tutorials and videos out there teaching you how to use Proton Tricks to fix everything up in case it's needed. The next thing to do is less of a thing to download, more of a thing to learn. That is, learning how to tweak settings per game. This is practically second nature to most PC gamers, but for my console gamers that made the leap to the Steam Deck, a vast majority of PC titles or PC ports will have graphical detail options. You can crank and lower the graphical detail as needed. While games on console tend to target one single frame rate, on PC you can target basically whatever frame rate you'd like. You want a game at a buttery smooth 60 FPS, you can turn down all the graphical details. Are you okay with a game running at 30 FPS as long as it looks nice and you're running maximum details? You can do that too. And that's just the PC gaming side of things. On the Steam Deck, you also have the ability to change your wattage, how much power your Steam Deck uses. Are you playing an indie game that runs extremely well and probably doesn't need that much power? You can have the Steam Deck consume less power than it normally would on its own. These power settings are also saved per game, even among non-Steam games that you may download and add to Steam manually. If you're looking to maximize your Steam Deck's battery life, then this step is a must. Get educated. The next thing you should learn about are Steam sales. Steam has a lot of great features, but Steam's best feature is definitely its sales. You could just wait for everyone to talk about the Steam sale on the day it comes, or you can prepare yourself early. There's a neat little resource that tells you when sales are happening and when they will happen. You can see basically every major sale event that's going to happen this year. Of course, Steam's biggest sales are its seasonal sales, one for each season. You're looking to buy and play an older game that you never really got around to buying? Steam sales give you a great opportunity to save on those games. And finally, the last thing you should do to enhance your Steam Deck experience is to get Decky and its various plugins. I've definitely spoken about Decky more than once, and that's for a good reason. Because it's awesome. Decky can add great functionality to your Steam Deck depending on what plugins you download. There are some truly great plugins, such as the ability to plug your Steam Deck into a computer and transfer files directly to and from the Steam Deck, or the ability to change how your Steam Deck's UI looks. There is even a plugin that lets you control background music while you're playing games so that you don't have to leave the application to control your music player or whatever. I don't necessarily want to say there's no limits to what Decky can achieve, but I can tell you there's a lot of functionality that you can add yourself, most of which can be seen in the plugin explorer within Decky itself. If you want more information about Decky, check out a prior video I made on Decky. It's been fun showing you what you should do with your Steam Deck as soon as you get it. Now go, play some video games, won't you? If you like high-tech lowlife, you should check out the rest of my channel. And if you like the rest of my channel, you should like, subscribe, and spread the good gospel of high-tech lowlife. Furthermore, we have a community Discord server. There's a link in the description down below. Check us out.